Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Warhammer. Today we're going to be looking at who exactly is Eltharion. We've just seen the Luminethi Realm Lords come into existence and be revealed at the Las Vegas Open, and with them we've had this suit of armor character, the Spirit of Eltharion, or the Light of Eltharion as they're calling it, is this bodiless suit of armor. And so next to it you can see the old Eltharion model, and we're just going to talk a little bit about who was Eltharion. So, to start with, Eltharion is a High Elf character back from Warhammer Fantasy. He was one of the most popular characters that existed in Warhammer Fantasy for High Elves, known by many as Eltharion the Grim, and in some instances Eltharion the Blind. We'll talk a little bit about that because that did get retconned at points. And so what is his story really? Well, Eltharion is was at one stage just a warrior. He is the only warrior leader to lead a raid into Nagrond and come back. So he attacked Naggaroth, the Dark Elves' home, launched a raid, burnt a whole bunch of Dark Elf outposts and stuff. And at one of them, though, however, he was stabbed and poisoned, and it was during this poison fever, like, they left him to die. They thought, oh, our general's going to die and we're going to have to bury him here on Naggaroth. But no, during the night he was racked with painful visions after these raids, and his father spoke to him in a spirit form that now Eltharion realised his father was dead. And back home, that a goblin warlord by the name of Grom the Paunch was leading an army destroying all of his home of Tor Yevesi. And so Eltharion knew that he must go home and avenge his father and his family and save his people. And so he awoke, somehow fully healed from this weird poison, and awoke completely fine, and his father's sword, where the spirit had spoke to him in the middle of the night in these visions, lay at his feet. And so it was that he led his armada back to Ulthuan and led a fight against Grom the Paunch in Tor Yevesi. He came and they went to this weird, they had to skewer this like weird watchtower inside Tor Yevesi, and they ended up doing so. Eltharion slaying this mighty wyvern shaman that was under Grom the Paunch's power at the time, and this sort of nullified the winds of magic, and he was able to slay the goblin shaman on the wyvern. And then him and his bravest 4 men entered this watchtower to contain some like weird substance inside the tower that obviously they had used to calm the magics. And after a whole bunch of time passed, only he left and only he came out. All his men had gone, and no one sort of knew what had happened in there or anything, but he came out this grim, bitter soul, hence the name Eltharion the Grim. And so that was really his story for fantasy. There were points where he was known as Eltharion the Blind, and the poison we talked about before was actually a fight with him and Malekith, and he got blinded by Malekith, but this was in the 6th edition book. It did later get retconned back to being what it was previously in 5th edition, and that's what it stayed as in 7th and 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy. So Eltharion the Blind didn't exist in the timeline that we're now playing on. So we don't know whether this is actually Eltharion or whatever it is. It's something to do with Eltharion. It's got his name. It's spelled exactly the same. But hopefully this little video has just been a little bit of insight into who Eltharion was. And we can see where we go forward from here with this Light of Eltharion. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you to all our Patreons. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do so at Cinderful Gaming at Patreon. Thank you all. See you all again real soon.